space. Well, not really. Take two. Here, in the Mitten State. Welcome to Code 47, bringing you all things Star Trek, spanning the quadrants, the best thing since the neutral zone.
And we are back, Code 47 podcast on the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. This is Charlie Carden, your Trek Lord of West Michigan, captain of the USS Grand Petoskey, a Starfleet International fan club chapter. Here bringing you episode 40 of our wonderful program. I would be nowhere without my co-hosts. I only have one co-host this week because Aaron is famously not crazy about the animated stuff. But Rich and I, we love everything. So I'm here with Rich, who is my chief engineer and the Trek surf of greater rural Minnesota. So Richard, How are you today?
I'm loving life, man. I'll tell you, it's good stuff. Here's why. I'm so glad I'm done with the animated series. So glad.
There is a certain amount of satisfaction in anything in life where you get through something unpleasant and you're like, we just got it over with. It's okay. That's going to work. So that's good. But yeah, we're going to endeavor to roll through the concept of the animated series. Brief history. Obviously, the original series we all know was canceled in the summertime, or last episode aired in June of 1969. So we're kind of past an anniversary on that. It's been 52 years since the end of the original series. Wow. Which is totally nuts. Really? But it was just a scant few years after that the good folks at the Filmation Studios got the rights to do an animated series, which aired on NBC. And I would have to double check my facts, but I feel like if this wasn't a Saturday morning cartoon, it absolutely had that feel. It ran for a full season of. It looks like I cut that off. No, it ran for a full season of. How many episodes? Anyway, there was 20. I had that edit point and I dropped it. So it ran for, here we go. The first season was 16 episodes. And then we popped over, unless I just didn't do this right, 16 to, did I lose one in my. So here's the bottom line is we might end up losing one because I think I might have cut this wrong. But regardless, it ran for like 15, total 22 total episodes. But yes, we're going to go through these kind of quickly because there's 22 of them and the segments were only half an hour. So
there's only 21 in our review though.
Okay. Let me double check my math while you start talking about this first episode here. So
okay.
We'll do a little on the fly. So you go right ahead.
All right. So episode 1 from season 1 is called The Beyond the Farthest Star, directed by Hal Sutherland and written by Samuel A. Peoples. It premiered in September of 1973, and while exploring on the outermost rim of the galaxy, the USS Enterprise is pulled back into the orbit of a dead star. Trapped there, the crew discovers that there's an ancient derelict pod ship trapped with them as well.
Oh, pod ships.
Yeah.
Kind of a cool. I did find our missing episode. It was the beginning of season 2. So, kind of an interesting kickoff, but again, interesting in so much that like, what's this all about? But ultimately, I think what we're going to say about a lot of these episodes is that it just looks really chintzy.
Oh God! Well, that's the Filmation thing, right? That's right. That's how they work. They reuse so many like backgrounds and foregrounds and
side grounds,
everything. The head is the same head from like every frickin' episode of this season or this series.
Right.
Just the mouth and the eyes move, And,
exactly. So yeah. And that's my greatest fear about all this is that it all just kind of evaporates into now they're doing this other thing or whatever. Yeah. Now that being said, a couple of these first episodes really do stand out. Like episode 2 is Yesteryear, and this is one of the first. It got a sequel novel in the early days of the novels. Again, are non-canonical. But it was one of the first and kind of most prominent that got worked back into canon, actually quite formatively with with Star Trek Enterprise, which Richie, I know that you've not seen a lot of them. But,
no, I haven't finished the second season yet.
But yeah, yesteryear has to do. It brings back the Guardian of Forever. Spock has to travel into the past to rescue his younger self from danger. I would say, and this was written by Dorothy DC Fontana, who is one of the bigwigs of the original series. So this is absolutely the pinnacle of the series. I mean, they peaked way early because they had their best work right here. It's really great. So yeah, you're seeing, Spock take on this role where he's got to really save himself from death. It mirrors, for lack of a better expression, the City on the Edge of Forever, where there was a critical event in the past that changed the present. And so Spock has to go back and save himself from death in the Vulcan's Forge, and you're introduced to his pet Selot, which is referred to in the series. So I love it. This is the one that I actually liked. The rest of these, Richie, why don't you take it over from here? Because I don't know what else to say at this exact point.
Okay, so the visualization on Spock's giant Vulcan pet dog thing was really, really weird.
Right.
Stick a horn on it? Wasn't that the way that they go? I mean, just stick a horn on it, right? That's what they should have just done.
That's TOS basic with anything. Right. Don't you remember the dog from the Enemy Within with the two
absolutely.
Kirks? They split with the train. This is the same thing. They just didn't have to try to wrangle an actual bear because it's animated. So anyway, moving right along. What else we got?
We've got one of our planets is missing. The next episode, it's the Enterprise encounters a giant cloud creature that feeds off the energy of the planets that lie in its path. They determine that it is heading for Mantilles, home of a Federation colony governed by former Starfleet officer Bob Wesley, who was featured in the TOS episode, The Ultimate Computer.
So they're doing the thing where they're trying to revisit elements of the original show, which makes sense because that's going to be at this point, the show had garnered popularity and syndication from 1970, 1971, basically up to this point. So you had fans who actually watched it. And again, the travesty of the original Star Trek is that immediately after the show was canceled and finally off the air, Nielsen's rating system was completely revised. And they went back, they crunched old numbers, and they found out that Star Trek was the biggest hit that had ever been. So it's like they were like, we fucked up. We got to do something about it.
Right.
This series being the response to that. So again, I could probably dig in, and we'll learn a little bit more as we go as to why they couldn't really just find a way to revive it. But again, this was their answer. But Bob Wesley, I love The Ultimate Computer, particularly, Richie, we were talking last night because we watched Space Seed in your inaugural watch party for the chapter, and we were talking about the remastered edition, which editions of the original series, which came out for the 40th anniversary in 2006. The Ultimate Computer was a great benefit to that because you got all these beautiful visuals of these Constitution class ships fighting and doing different stuff, so that was really cool. But ultimately, like I said, reading through this, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head one episode from a next. Go ahead, please.
This episode just started to bring out certain inadequacies in this show. Now you have the Lieutenant Eric's, right? I don't know what species he is, but he's got the third arm and a really weird face.
He was because it was obvious because Walter Koenig was the only one of the original cast that didn't sign on to this show. Right. They had to replace him.
Yep. But his voice is comically overdone. So comically overdone. And okay, a couple other things about this episode that bothered the crap out of me. This whole episode boils down to giving a cloud a tummy ache, right? Mm-hmm. This whole episode was basically, let's give a cloud a tummy ache. And Spock with his sexual innuendo in his communication, it was really weird. And it contained lines like, I am inside you. So Leonard Nimoy had to say these lines. And
who knows how many takes that really took?
Right. Good Lord.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Some of this is so ill-advised.
Right,
this whole
exactly.
series is ill-advised, but some of it just
in particular under a lens of modern day.
Right.
And the next episode, the next episode is a great example of the Lorelei signal, which is investigating a sector of space where starships have disappeared every 27 years. Enterprise finds a race of beautiful women living on Taurus 2. So this episode launches into the absolutely ridiculous notion that the women have to be in charge because the men are ineffectual because of the alien women in there, because they're too beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
What a product of the times. What a product of the times. So, yeah, exactly. So you have to, Uhura has to take command, and then Nurse Chapel is obviously her executive officer, chief surgeon, whatever it is, because all the men are like, ooh, because of, the siren song of these women. So, yeah, again, something that really clearly played out back in the day, but today just looks absolutely ridiculous. So.
Oh, yeah. And was that Jimmy Doohan singing?
He does almost everything on this show.
Okay. All right.
Jimmy Doohan is, okay. He's so many different. This was his Super Bowl, this entire series. He was just like, we call this episode Jimmy Doohan's Super Bowl. I think that's what we might have to name it. So, anyway, moving along, we actually had a bright spot in episode number 5. Richie, go ahead.
We have more tribbles, more troubles. And it was while the USS Enterprise escorts 2 robot cargo ships carrying Triticale, a new seed grain, to famine-stricken Sherman's planet. It encounters a Klingon battlecruiser pursuing a Federation scout ship. When the Enterprise rescues the pilot, the Klingons attack with a new energy weapon and demand that the pilot be handed over to them.
And I love the fire to the energy weapon, and it hits, and it's like fireworks,
yeah,
flashing. It's an epileptic's nightmare trying to watch this stuff.
I know, it was terrible.
Gosh. So yeah, but at least again we get a call back to arguably one of the most popular episodes of the original series. So again, they're reaching, they're reaching to make a connection, and it's funny. I kind of feel like the next episode, The Survivor, is almost exactly the same as the early series episode, What Are Little Girls Made Of, or something.
Right.
Because it says patrolling the neutral zone, the Enterprise finds a ship manned by Carter Winston, a Federation citizen and philanthropist who has been missing for 5 years. And there's a crewman on board who was his fiance, and he comes on board and he says, "Anne, I'm just, I'm not that into you anymore," or whatever. And it was the exact same plot line of the original series episode. And this Anne, I think her name was Anne, I might just be kind of throwing that out there, is also voiced by Majel Barrett Roddenberry, who was Nurse Chapel in the first episode. So all they did was change her. I think she even has blonde hair. She's just in a red uniform, meaning that she's in engineering or security instead of being in the sciences. So
right.
Really, really thin. But if you want to talk about really thin, unless you have any additional thoughts on episode 6, episode 7 is.
Well, I do.
I just don't even want to. But go ahead, please. Go ahead about.
So episode 6 introduces the idea of wealth. For like the first time that I can think of in the Star Trek universe. I don't think they mix. I don't think wealth and Star Trek mix. I think people always talk about that utopia where money is evenly distributed or wealth is evenly distributed.
Right. Well, yeah. In looking at DS9, I mean, obviously, the Ferengi are obviously driven by but in the Federation, they even had Jake say, "I'm human. We don't have money. We don't do money." Because everything that all their material needs come out of a replicator. What would they need money for? To get a replicator.
Right. But I mean, Carter Winston he's part of the Federation, right? He's a Federation citizen. So what's he a philanthropist with? Nothing?
He's a philanthropist. It sounds like it's the Seinfeld of Star Trek. It's a philanthropy about nothing.
Philanthropy about nothing.
Oh my God. So anyway, episode 7.
Episode 7 is The Infinite Vulcan, and it is Oh wait, I just took your thing. This is yours. You got to do this one, right?
Oh, we're doing onesie twosie, God. I
thought we were doing onesie twosie, but okay.
Well, absolutely.
Right.
No, I'll do it. It's okay. And because I think it's particularly interesting that it has Walter Koenig as the writer of this episode.
That's right.
But he's not. He doesn't do voice. Maybe he was at a point in his career who was like, I'm not doing acting anymore. I'm going to be a serious writer. Blah blah. I don't know. Anyway, while visiting the newly discovered planet Philos, Lieutenant Sulu picks up a walking plant called a ret claw and is poisoned. The alien species that inhabit the planet, who are plant-like beings, approach and save Sulu's life but kidnap Mr. Spock. Am I thinking of this one as the one where we get the giant-sized Spock? I feel like this is
yeah, this is the giant Spock, I think, right? This was
well, the Infinite Vulcan, yeah, absolutely. And you have the guy who's basically, he's got a mullet and he's not wearing a shirt, and it's just, you get the giant Spock and the little Spock. They talk to each other. He does a mind meld by touching with his finger. I mean, there is just a lot of like,
there's Spock 2. They literally call one of them Spock 2.
Right, like Luke in the Star Wars
with 2 U's, right?
Yeah, Luke. Oh my God.
Why not call him Spork?
Spork
or something, right? Give him a different name.
Change the first letter. Call him, Trock or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Spock backwards, right? K-Pox or something.
K-Pox. K-Pox. There you go. Oh my gosh.
Right now there's a giant Spock still running around.
Well,
I guess
we'll talk about this a little bit later on if we decide it's canonical or not canonical. So, so anyway, episode 8, The Magics of Megastu. Megastu,
I thought it was. I don't know.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I can't stop you.
Oh, one other thing about the Infinite Vulcan. It came out the day after I was born.
Oh my God! It's an omen. You were meant to talk about this someday because it was, they were sitting there, they were ready to push the button and press play on the Betamax or whatever it was that they said to the show.
Or my mother watched this episode and went into labor. I don't know which it is.
It was too much.
So while exploring near the center of the galaxy, the USS Enterprise is caught inside an energy matter vortex and all her computer systems failed. A being named Lucian appears on the bridge, repairs the ship's system, and takes the crew to explore the planet Megas 2.
Again, phenomenally forgettable. I couldn't tell you one other detail about this episode. I'm sorry.
This is the trippiest frickin' episode. There's like a magic Kirk and like a frickin' fawn and like. So also Kirk casts Lucian out and then saves him. It like they tried to make like this biblical thing out of it. I think it was very strange episode. Like somebody was dropping acid, I think.
Well, it was going to say, when you put in acid and a biblical reference, I won't say how can you go wrong. I will say how can you go right.
Right.
And it went right out the window. So,
oh my Lord.
So, oh my God. So, episode 9. Once upon a planet, the Enterprise is revisiting the amusement park. First seen in the Trek episode Shore Leave, hoping for some rest and relaxation. And lo and behold, they have more hallucinations. They have more fantasies. Shit goes wrong. I think you see the underground of this planet, so a little bit more of kind of how the sausage is made. And ultimately, it was 22 minutes of who cares.
Well, it was also 22 minutes of the backup comms officer. I can't remember her name, but she's constantly purring, and it's hysterical.
Oh, is. Oh God, I know the. Why am I?
Is it Morel? Is it Morel, right?
Or Moress. It's Moress.
That's Moress. Yeah.
And again, that's talk about there's only so many females that we could ever hire to do any of this. It's Majel Barrett Roddenberry doing the voice of that. So yeah, exactly. So her, and remember she was the Chapel knockoff a couple of episodes ago with Carter Winston. So,
also McCoy I think McCoy at one point in this episode laments the fact that they don't make plantation houses the way they used to.
For God's sakes. Hashtag cancel Bones.
Oh my God. What is happening?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it hasn't aged well. What's a new thing? A culturally outdated references.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good grief.
So, Oh, anyway, all right. Up next, number 10.
Moving on. Episode 10 is Mudd's Passion. The USS Enterprise receives orders to arrest Federation outlaw Harry Mudd, who is accused of selling fake love crystals. Intercepting Harry on the mining colony of Motherlode. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh.
They bring him aboard the Enterprise. So...
inappropriate sexual connotation for Saturday morning cartoon.
Yes, this makes Harry Mudd basically a sex criminal, right?
Right.
He sells sex criminal drugs to willing clients, and then Nurse Chapel tries to Bill Cosby Spock. What is going on?
I got three words for you, my friend. Funky Cold Medina. This is the funky cold Medina of space. That could be another. Oh my God! You know, you're gonna have to keep track of these so that we get to the end of it. We figure out what to call this. So
write that one down, but I can't remember. Oh, it's Scotty Super Bowl, right?
I did. I actually recorded that one, but yeah, it's gonna be hard to come up with one that can be kind of all encompassing. So it's just it's bad. It's Bill Cosby actually. Bill Cosby actually got let out of jail today. There was an overturned sentence. Yep. Yeah, I saw a headline just like 30 minutes ago. I know it sucks.
Great, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it was then
how timely is my comment? Jeez.
And he sent a gif of Lionel Hutz from The Simpsons saying, "I moved for a bad court thingy." The judge goes, "You mean a mistrial? That's why you're the judge, and I'm the law talking guy."
Law talking guy.
Oh my gosh! So episode 11 is the time trap.
Oh my God.
While exploring the Delta Triangle, which actually, if I look at this, you can't see, but if I look at this map behind me, there's actually the Delta Triangle was on the original version of this map of the Federation that hangs in my dining room, where many starships have disappeared. So it's a Bermuda Triangle, obviously. The Enterprise is attacked by several Klingon vessels, and then they're caught in an ion storm. An Enterprise and one Klingon battlecruiser are drawn into a space-time vortex and end up in a timeless dimension. Now, I would be all over this one, except for there's an early episode of TNG which kind of steals a portion of this plot line, the where no one has gone before, where they get it's the Traveler and they get the time boost and they jump 3 galaxies away into this time where everything you imagine comes true and time has no meaning, and let's all do the time warp again. Oh my God, that could be another one. Write it down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I don't. It's silly, and they introduce some new ship designs in this. Like, oh, there's that ship. It's been lost for. There's some stuff in here that's kind of canon contradictory, which really lends itself more to the fact that that this is not canonical. But we'll get to that more as time goes by. But anyway, your thoughts about this one?
This was the episode where everything was shrinking, right? Is this the shrinking episode? I don't think so. Is it? I thought they threw Chapel into like a tank to go and get something, and she couldn't swim. Am I thinking of the wrong episode here? Do I have my notes messed up?
I might be on drugs. Let's just say that that's correct. This whole series is so surreal. I'm just really not that even. I'm still tripped out from the last episode. From the Megas 2.
Yeah, that was like the trippiest episode of Star Trek I've ever seen. It just blew my mind. I had to make sure I wasn't on drugs when I was watching it. I was like, what is going on here?
Oh my God! I feel like as we go, I'm going to have to click on each one. So because it doesn't really make it. No. That's the next one. Yeah, if you go to the next one, which is the Territon incident, it does say in this episode, after an apparent attack, the Enterprise crew find themselves beginning to shrink to the point that they will no longer be able to control the ship. So you were close. But that's episode 12. You got it, dude.
Episode 12 says.
I know.
During a burnt-out supernova, the USS Enterprise picks up a strange message transmitted in a 200-year-old code.
Well, I guess they must be the same. So you see how difficult this one is.
This show.
It is this damn show. But I will tell you that episode 13 I thought was kind of cool. Believe it or not.
The ambergris incident or ambergris element.
Yes.
While exploring the water planet Argo, Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock are transformed into water breathers by the planet's undersea inhabitants, the Aquans. Oh, so aptly named. In order to return to their normal selves, they must enlist the help of the Aquans to capture a giant sursnake whose venom holds the antidote.
Wait. Go ahead.
Okay. something's fishy here.
Ah, come on.
Sorry. But really, something is definitely fishy here. They transformed them. They are now going to help them go capture the only snake whose venom can change them back. Say what? Where's the logic in that?
And why? Well, I was going to say, well, Spock is there, so I'm sure informing to logic. The lack of logic, I'm sure it would. But the reason I kind of dig on this is that one of the first story arcs that I can remember from reading the old Star Wars comic, the first Marvel Star Wars comic, was right around in the issue 73 or 75, where Luke and Leia were on the water world and the Empire attacked, and then they got stuck underwater and they met Kiro. Do you remember? Did you Are you familiar with the series? Oh, yeah. I loved that. So that has for me spawned a love of like underwater, like disaster kind of scenario. So I kind of dug that. But yeah, you're right. When you really break it down, they have to go. Their whole thing is to capture a snake so they can get back to their original, state. But then why were they transformed in the first place? It's too much. It is too much.
But we do get to hear Captain Kirk roar when he gets that cure, like when Bones like stabs him with the cure. I have to wonder if Shatner did that himself, like if that was his roar, because it's some sort of like bizarre thing, and I'm like, is that Shatner? Like listening to it, I'm thinking to myself, that can't. He didn't
pull in a ringer on that one. Oh my goodness!
I don't know. It was fantastic though. It was a fantastic, horrible roar.
My God. Moving on, episode 14, the slaver weapon. In the shuttlecraft Copernicus, Spock, Uhura, and Sulu are en route to a starbase to deliver a stasis box, a rare artifact of the slaver culture a rare artifact of slaver culture. When the Kzinti interfere, now the Kzinti they're basically some bear cat people. But what's significant here is that they have been pulled into current canon in Star Trek Picard because of when Picard and the other robot, the other android gal, I always mix up the two of them, escaped to that planet, and Riker and Troy are their refuge on Nepenthe. Riker makes reference to Kzinti raiders, and that's why he has this security net over his house. So I thought that was super cool. So that dips back into, the more I think about it, this series is a little bit more like Star Wars' extended universe.
Yeah,
there are bits and pieces that are of value, so they get plucked out, and you get to leave the rest of it where it belongs, which is in limbo.
Oh my God! Look, they thwarted these guys. They thwarted the Kzinti by thinking of vegetables.
That is what I remember about it. Again, is that a little heavy-handed marketing for the kids? Like, kids, eat your vegetables, because that's what Sulu had to do to defeat the bear cat people.
Like, how bad is Filmation's animation that like their big action sequence is them thinking at each other of things? Like, close your eyes and think, and the music does all the work, right? Right?
Oh my God! And again, I'm fairly certain that our somewhat whimsical take on the entire series will draw ire from someone who's listening to this. To which I have to say, our Twitter is @SecretFriendsU. Please let us know. We want to hear all about it. So anyway, I do. I really want to hear somebody talk to me, even potentially outside of the lens of complete nostalgia, of why this is great. Yeah. I'm very curious on why someone looks at this, even wedged between the somewhat rampant silliness of the original series and the it took a while, but we got there quality of Star Trek The Next Generation, and tell me where this fits within that, because I would like to know. I would absolutely like to know. So anyway, we're getting into the home stretch. We're almost out of season 1 and almost into the season 2, which was very short because I assume it got the axe. But Richie, this one is me. The Eye of the Beholder, episode 15. The disappearance of a scientific team leads the USS Enterprise to investigate near Latara 7. The starship Ariel is located there, abandoned, with its captain having been transported to the planet's surface. These recaps are really not the save all that I want them to be, because I'm like, what in the hell does anything? Yeah, because then I have to go to the wiki page because again, I struggle to keep any of these in my mind of
Right.
like, you could ask me about a TOS episode and I could say, I tell you all about that because I've seen it 50 times. I've struggled now. This is maybe the third total time that I've gone all the way through the series, and it's a struggle every single aspect of it. It says here in this episode, the disappearance of the command crew become imprisoned as part of an alien zoo. Okay, that makes sense. What was in the first description really didn't. So, I don't. You got any notes on this one?
I do. First of all, Cannabis 3.
Oh man.
Okay. I mean, and then of course, Bones gets pinned under this monster at the beginning of this episode. It's like, how did he not see that coming? There was a giant monster. Why don't you get out of the way, Bones? What are you doing? Just standing up. And then he's kicking and screaming, and they left him under there for a good long while, but while they were trying to get him out. How's he not dead? What are there, air pockets? Or what? I don't understand.
Sure, why not? It seems very convenient that's the case. So
also, Bones shows his racist bones again. Like when he's like, he really goes after Spock in these later episodes of season 1 and into season 2. He's after Spock, damn bloody Vulcan and all this other stuff, and it's like, oh my god, dude, you've got to calm down on this.
Yeah, let's just turn it up here, advanced 23rd century society.
Right?
Oh my God. Well, speaking of a really unhealthy throwback, episode 16 is called The Jihad.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
So yes, we have the Enterprise invites. You know what? This one's yours. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you got it. The Enterprise arrives at the Vendala asteroid, where Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock are being summoned to learn about a stolen religious artifact, the Soul of Skor, whose theft could ignite a intergalactic holy war. Well,
I just think it's a great idea to not do this. You know what I'm saying? I just, huge religious themes are just not my scene.
Right.
And I just, let's see here. Oh, geez. This is a weird. Yeah, Captain Spock become involved in a secret quest to retrieve a stolen artifact to prevent a warrior race from attacking the galaxy. That sounds fine. But calling something the Jihad and then just leave it right out of there. Yeah. Just get right out of town. It's a bad play. Holy war, and again, it's really antithetical to the fact that Gene Roddenberry, who is an atheist, was completely opposed to religious themes in Star Trek at all.
I know. Yeah.
So that's where this doesn't really fit the bill, and maybe Stephen Candle, who wrote it, is a Johnny Bible Thump. I have no idea, but this is very not Star Trek to me. So
yeah. Oh, even to the point that Kirk is shunning. There's some woman, I can't remember her name, but she's like coming on to him, and he's just like, yeah, get away. Okay,
God. That doesn't happen.
Come on.
That's very Saturday morning cartoon. So.
Yeah.
So anyway,
go way over there.
So anyway, we leave season 2 and we head in season 1 and we head into season 2 with what I think is a pretty decent one. The Pirates of Orion. While Spock lies ill, Orion pirates hijack the drug shipment desperately needed to save his life. This I dig. This is capitalization on a race that we really didn't see in the original series. Well, we saw Yvonne Craig as a crazy, basically Orion slave girl in season 3 episode of TOS, which was the one with Garth Vizar. I'm drawing a blank on the name, where they're at the penal colony for the crazies.
God.
And then we got a lot more development on the Orions as a race and as a culture in a few episodes of Enterprise a little bit later on in the series. And then there was the Orion Syndicate, which saw Deep Space Nine. So this was a nice early tip-off and probably an inspiration to those later works I was referencing to, because I know in particular in that final season of Enterprise, Manny Cotto was the showrunner, and he was a guy who had been responsible for the show 24, which I'm very, very, very fond of.
Oh, yeah, that's a great show.
And so he was... like I said, not that he'll ever hear us talking about this, but he was one who really adored the show. And if this found its way into, he would probably absolutely be blowing up our Twitter and saying what hacks we are not be worshiping this great work. But again, outside of the lens of nostalgia and as a cartoon,
yeah,
a lot of this is very flat for me. You know what I mean? So,
well, I mean, look, what's so cutting edge about this? They took the Huron is a bizarre looking ship. Basically you had somebody say, all right, draw a spaceship. Now it needs to be a Star Trek spaceship, so slap some nacelles on the sides of it. Right. Now it's a Star Trek spaceship.
Right.
You know?
We got it. Exactly. A for effort, question mark.
Yeah.
A, B minus, C plus for effort, maybe?
Probably C plus for effort, yeah.
Yeah. It's a very...
Kirk negotiates with terrorists in this one.
Oh, and okay, C plus for effort is now the name of this episode. Keep talking.
My favorite interaction, though, does happen in this episode. It's between Kirk and Bones. And Bones is going on and on about like all the things that are happening to Spock and da-da-da-da-da. And Kirk says something along the lines of, come on, Bones, cut to the chase. And Bones just looks at him straight face, which of course the only face that you can do in this filmation. But
because no one really has it. They have like 3 expressions each, maybe.
Right. He just says Spock has a virus, and that's it. It's like, oh, okay. Well, see, that was really
I got it.
Spock.
Oh my God. So, okay, moving on. BEM, episode 18.
Yeah. The Enterprise crew is taken captive by a race of primitives on a newly discovered planet. That dude comes apart at the waist, and then he gropes Kirk and Spock.
That is a Me Too incident waiting to happen. But yeah, like I said, I'm clicking on these links as we go. Let's see. This episode marks the first time Captain James T. Kirk's full name is given, revealing his middle initial stood for Tiberius after the Roman emperor. So that's canonical.
Ah, there you go.
So again, the cherry picking of canon kind of evolves into this deal. So yes, the Enterprise must cope with a diplomatically sensitive issue involving a guest officer who meddles in a critical mission. So, a meddling, Federation type or whatever is that's kind of par for the course. But yeah, you're right. The splitting in the middle and the groping, and let's just move on.
Yeah, I think we should. This episode left me wishing I had moved on from this life.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Exactly.
And episode 19. This is basically the Dick Whedon fart jokes of this series right here. Referring to Kevin Smith, of course. Let's see. A strange energy field causes the Enterprise computer to play practical jokes on the crew, but this humor soon turns to danger. And I feel like this one gave us the holodeck for some reason.
Did give us a holodeck. My note. Holy shit, a holodeck?
Right, exactly. So yeah, it was something that because the next series that came out was TNG, and they fully embraced that, but they also said, well, this is a great new technology, whatever it is, obviously invalidating this back to be non-canon. So yeah, the rec room in this episode is a forerunner of the holodeck, which is very big in later series. But again, there's a lot of really asinine humor, Kirk gets his uniform out of the refresher and it says Kirk is a jerk on the back of his uniform. And again, Dick Whedon fart jokes, your 6-year-old kid would be like, oh my God, that's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Right. I wrote that this may be the worst episode yet, and that was after watching that BEM episode. So it was the slow slide to the last 3 episodes here. I know. The other thing about this, when they spilled drinks on their uniforms, there are these white stains that are on their uniforms. I'm like, this is a kids show. What is happening here? This is bizarre. Absolute bizarreness. And the Klingons there are Romulans flying Klingon ships. Was there no? There were no.
That actually tracks with the original series, because there's in season 3, the Enterprise incident, which the guest star was Joanne Linville. She just passed away recently, the female Romulan commander. It was revealed that Klingons and Romulans, and this was a budgeting issue at the time, used that same design.
Okay, all right.
That part is on the level, but that's about it.
Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
You know what? This whole episode is a whole lot of I don't like it.
Wait till we get to the last one.
Oh my God, episode 20. So take us home. We got the last 3 episodes. Number 20 is Albatross. How aptly named.
Yes. Dr. McCoy is arrested for allegedly causing a deadly plague, which once ravaged the planet Dremia. Once ravaged it. Right. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yes, exactly. So yeah, it was a total kind of Bill Cosby situation.
Look, the best part of this episode is Kirk asks Spock what the level of radiation is on the planet, and Spock, in all of his scientific knowledge, says intense.
It's intense, man. It's like super intense.
Intensities, man. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. It's a big thumbs down. So yeah, it seems like it kind of reminds me of the Red Jack episode of the original series where Scotty was accused of a murder, and of course that was happening in the present, not the past, but still.
Right.
It was a little silly, without a doubt. So yeah, yikes. Episode 21, so we're in the home stretch here. How sharper than a serpent's tooth? Try to say that 5 times fast. Mysterious being threatens the Enterprise if the crew is unable to solve an ancient puzzle. So it's Mr. Mixel-Plixik.
Yeah.
Because this was on at the same time as the Super Friends, so who knows? So it's yes. Let's see here.
That's true.
Oh my God! But
weren't they? Weren't they both Filmation?
No. The Super Friends was Hanna-Barbera.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. The animated series. This episode of the animated series won the series a Daytime Emmy Award for Outstanding Children's Series. Huh? What? So obviously they're seeing a little bit more of this in it. This marked the first episode of Star Trek to win an Emmy Award, where I'm going to call bullshit on that. Set your standards a little bit higher, because yuck.
Maybe it was a makeup Emmy because they didn't realize what they had with the original series.
They opened the wrong envelope.
No, like they, how they do makeup Oscars. Denzel should have won for Malcolm X, so he won for Training Day instead. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay, yeah. I got it. Yeah, so it's a make good. It's a do over. Yeah. I get it. All right, very good. Well,
but look, it's a good thing they had Walking Bear on the bridge when the Traveler showed up, right?
Oh my God!
How the hell? He's just there, right? Lieutenant Walking Bear shows up when they need someone to interpret Native American imagery.
Oh my God, dude! I am shaking my head beyond. Well, at the very least, when we get to episode 22, I think we're going out on a high point because we do actually pick up some stuff that's canonical. So this one is me, right?
I don't know. I don't remember. You take it.
Sure, why not? I got it. Unusual spaceship pulls the Enterprise into a negative universe where time flows backwards. Now, the Enterprise is transporting retired Starfleet Captain Robert April and his wife Sarah. They both served on the Enterprise. They have both launched the Enterprise 30-something, about 25 years earlier. They launched the Enterprise. This gives us an actual canon reference to Robert April, who it's funny if you look at the older Star Trek encyclopedia books, which either in black and white or color, as you thumb through it, the Robert April entry, because it is made canonical by this, is a picture of a Starfleet body with Gene Roddenberry's head slapped on top of it. So Robert April really is supposed to be, in live action, is supposed to be Gene Roddenberry. So
interesting.
This was cool. This was the one they were turning into babies, but Spock was, and so they lowered Kirk's voice as time went on, and then they were all crawling around on the bridge.
Look, here's a couple things. First of all, are you sure that was Mrs. Robert April, or was it one of the Wonder Twins?
Did she end up?
The outfit she was wearing, dude, I swear to God, that was my first note. It's Robert April. Holy crap. And one of the Wonder Twins? Oh, no, wait.
Twin Powers. Yeah. Maybe she was the inspiration, because I think the Wonder Twins came on later on in the Super Friends, because there was Wendy and Marvin and Wonder Dog to kick the series off as the human cohorts to, you got to have a dog to make things all happy slappy. So
I have a couple other things I want to say about this, though.
Please.
She's carrying a flower for no other reason than to carry a flower, and one of her first lines is, "My flower is dying," right? As she's getting older, right? The flower is dying.
They ought to be
getting older.
Sounds like they ought to be taking her to that crazy farm where the Garth Vizar and the Ryan chick are at. Yvonne Craig is at. You know what I'm saying?
But this is a kid show. My flower is dying. What? And then when they're going back in time, Kirk says to her, "I see your flower has blossomed again."
Christ's sakes! Oh boy,
what is going on this show?
That is a big thumbs down. So that's the end of the.
Oh my God.
That's the end of this deal. So I do have this article attached for us to look at, and I would simply tell you to scroll to the bottom of it where it says production inconsistencies, because there are a lot of them with weird colors. So yeah, we have Rich. If you scroll down just about to the bottom of this page, it does say one of the unfortunate realities of the animated series was color discrepancy. The most notable was everything being pink. So we had pink tribbles, pink Klingon uniforms, pink Kazinti uniforms, pink ship, red dragon, purple pterodactyls. It sounds like it should all be in Lucky Charms. You know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of weird reversed colors. We got a lot of weird uniform stuff. So McCoy is wearing a gold uniform at one point. Kirk is wearing a red uniform at one point. You just got a lot of flippity flop, and you've got, if you look at the pictures of on one end is a helmsman, and then they swapped it out, and they just changed color. He's black instead of white. So yeah, there was a lot of the animated series did weird things like putting a second turbo lift on the bridge. The bridge stations are rounded instead of hexagonal, and then the access stairs on engineering are gone. So they just decided to do weird stuff. There was an episode where one that they avoided was televising Uhura having white skin, but it sounds like it was a pretty close call by the sound of this. So, in the final analysis, one of these, what did this contribute to the franchise overall, is that, it kept the ball in play while the series was gaining momentum throughout the 1970s in syndication. Being that it was in syndication, it was on 5 days a week. So maybe it was, it was on after the nightly news. So everybody sat down and watched. I mean, how many people, yourself included, Rich, if I'm not mistaken, watched that on television 5 days a week with a family member? Exactly. You're watching it with your aunt or your brothers or your folks or your grandparents or somebody. And so this was, I would say, kind of a punctuation of that during the year and a half that it was on, is that it served to really further that desire, because it was really right around 70, 72, 73, 74. We had the first Star Trek convention, which was in New York City at a hotel somewhere, and they were expecting, Jimmy Doohan tells the story in an interview I've read, they were expecting about 50 people. They got something like 1,500, 2,000 people. And
my godmother was one of them.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. But yeah, things just have exploded since then, to the point that there have been decades of enormous conventions. And there's the one in San Diego that draws 150 guests, and people come from all over the world. There are conventions. There's huge ones in London and Germany. So this was, I won't call it a footnote because it is a standalone series of its own, but the sheer amount of ridiculousness and dated references, and not that there's not dated references in the original series,
or even in Next Generation.
To the 1980s, exactly. Yeah. So it has its place, but again, Gene Roddenberry himself said, "Well, I don't really consider it canon." So it's really, think about it as the Star Trek version of the Star Wars EU. They threw it out, but when they saw something that they could give a little wink and a nod, or something that might work its way back into canon that made sense, they did it. So
and then there's a Trek versus Transformers crossover comic that I had gotten, and Maress is in that comic. It's based on the animated series. So basically, they took the animated series look and they plunked it together with Transformers.
And we were going to do a separate episode about that. We found that there were kind of other things. As a committee, we voted on it and decided we wanted to kind of do other stuff. So anyway, any final thoughts before we move on to the news?
Okay, just a couple. I know I ragged on this series a lot. We talked about it, and I knew that I was going to have only bad things to say about it. But there were a lot of talented people involved in this, and some of these inconsistencies and some of these, goofs and everything, and some of the silliness of this is directly the fault of Filmation. You know what I mean? But regardless, there are very talented people that worked on this. You said DC Fontana. There's David Gerald. There's Walter Koenig. There's so many other people. Robert Wise had a hand in this in one point, and he's going to direct the first motion picture, right?
Right.
So it's I don't want to crap on their work, but I will definitely crap on Filmation and the goofiness of this show, because holy hell, this was a goofy show. That's all I got to say about it.
Big time. So, okay, moving on. We have a bright spot with one of the people that was involved in the trilogy of films that you and I can't stand. One of the only bright spots of the Kelvin Universe / JJ Trek, which we tear on regularly on the show. Simon Pegg played Scotty in that, and I thought he was. I love anything that he does, and we actually we covered this on Secret Friends Unite. Todd and I talked about that on the recording, which you'll have heard the latest episode Friday before this comes out. Yeah. But there is a rumor, and I sourced it, UK Times. That sounds very reputable, right? Is that Simon Pegg is working on a spinoff of Galaxy Quest. This was a 1995 film, and kind of near and dear to my heart, not only because I know Todd has affinity of it, because it was the last movie that Todd went to in the theater with his father before his dad got really sick. And his dad passed away a number of years later. I believe he had MS. So I know this is very important to Todd, which makes this important to me because Todd's my best friend. But I am particularly kind of enamored with this film because I am the assistant director of the College of Science Fiction Fantasy on Starfleet, the online Starfleet Academy, and there's a segment on these movies that people take the exams for pretty frequently. So I get as I'm going through and grading these, I'm reminded of these a lot. So I think this is cool. I loved it, and again, 1995 film that had Tim Allen, native of Michigan, along with the late Alan Rickman, great role. You had, of course, Sigourney Weaver. You had actually had a very young Sam Rockwell was in that film. You had what's his butt, who was the guy from Monk, who was on Wings at the time. You know the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So just a very fun film that very tongue in cheek just poked at Star Trek fandom. So it was absolutely great. So this
also has Dwight Schrute in it. I can't remember the guy's name. He shows up as one of the...
Rainn Wilson, yeah.
Rainn Wilson, that's him, yep.
Who is, of course, to bring it back around again, is Harry Mudd in the Discovery timeline.
Right, and does a really good job with that.
Absolutely, probably even strike me down better than the original in some ways. So I'm waiting for that lightning bolt. But yeah, this is fun, and again, this is just really a touch on the concept that this could be happening. So this is very cool, and I will certainly be looking forward to learning more about this as time goes by.
Yeah, definitely. If there was a good thing that came out of the Star Trek that shall not be named, it would be Simon Pegg. Simon Pegg now is listed when it comes to sci-fi stuff as Star Trek's Simon Pegg, and I'm like you. I love Simon Pegg. I'll watch anything he's in, and I've read and listened to his autobiography, which is fantastic. If you haven't read it, give it a listen. But it's called Nerd Do Well. It's fantastic. But
he is truly one of us. Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely one of us, and Simon Pegg being associated with Star Trek in any way is just fine with me. I'll watch this if it comes out. That's for sure. So.
My goodness. Well, to end the show, we do have, and we don't always have a swag box section, or what did I very cleverly name this? Starfleet Trading Post about merchandise, because again, some of it just kind of flies over my head, no pun intended. But this is kind of a combo one. New ships from Eagle Moss. You've got some new prints, and then finally a preview of the Borg Advent calendar. Now I've kind of all but ended my I've talked about this a lot about Eagle Moss, because again, the original line ended after 180 issues, and every issue was really a not to scale model, not to scale of each other, obviously, and a magazine that was all about not only the ship, but then also had a nice little article and featurettes. And those were nice and big, and I had a binder I could put them in, but then they got really small, so there was no binder to put them in, so that kind of got to be a hassle. And then the line came to an end. Well, the Hero Collector, the Eagle Moss people have kept things going. They're now making ships from the Star Trek Online game, which, again, I've never really dabbled with, but the models are slightly bigger and a little bit more expensive, and so that's kind of been a turnoff. Now, the ones that they are doing from Discovery are noticeably larger and noticeably more expensive. And then there's also the XL line, which is previously released. They've gone for hero ships, and I purchased exactly one, which is the 3 Nacelle Enterprise, which is the ship that is our Grand Petoskey, our fan club chapter. I don't find it to be gigantic size, to the point that I was really impressed with the fact that it was $75 instead of $20. So, my love affair with Eagle Moss has kind of ended, but they've got a couple here. They have a Tholian ship, they have a Starfleet vessel, and then they have a transport tug from Picard that you see at Utopia Planitia as it's blowing up, which is a big plot line of that season. So, Eagle Moss is also doing, we've talked about this on the show before, they're doing this Build the Enterprise D. You get a monthly shipment that has a piece that at the end of it ends up costing you almost $2,000 to build.
Jesus.
And it's in no way, shape, or form worth it. Now, that being said, even just to look at the screen caps of this video, it's very cool. They've got the framework that you put the panels on top of, and that's really great. But oh my God, $2,000. There's no way I would spend $2,000 really on any collectible, even though it's obviously amortized over time. But the big hit here, I don't know, Richard, where do you stand with models? Do you have any of the Eagle Moss models or anything like that? Or
I don't. I actually, I have. All I really have are some die-cast Star Wars models, but back in the day, I did do the models that you put together yourself, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, these like model kits.
Yeah. I would put together my own model kits, but no, I don't usually generally do that. So
I have one of the Enterprise D, and I probably mentioned this before, but I have one of the Enterprise D. It was the original issuing from 1987, so when the show was brand new. The saucer separated, and for years I struggled with it. I finally used a few of the Velcro dots that we use on our Starfleet uniforms to affix the badges to make sure that the saucer, I put like 4 or 5 of them in there to make sure the saucer would stay on. But anyway, the final bit, and we talked, you and Aaron and I talked about this not that long ago, is that the Borg Cube Advent Calendar is up for pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big enchilada. It's going to be about $140, which is, usually you go, if you buy a Lego Advent Calendar for Harry Potter or Star Wars, where it is, we've had the Star Wars one a couple times here. It's about $40. So this is obviously, it's $100 more than that. But when you look at the goodies contained therein, there are some that are pretty substantive. So Metal Enterprise bookmark. You've got, what is this other piece right? Oh yeah. Delta Fleet, it says bottle opener, I think. Yeah, I would have that same cut. Some micro posters. You've got a full size coffee mug. A pair of socks. So you've got some kind of neat swag in there.
That's a bookmark.
That's what it kind of tips itself off to be. So I'm still kind of struggling. And then some like TOS coasters, which would be cardboard, which means if you set a sweaty drink on there, they're going to destroy them anyway. So I don't really know how much that's going to pay off. So I'm still kind of struggling with this. I mean, Rich, where do you stand? Is this something that you think you're going to snap up?
Nah, I'm probably going to skip this. It does look, I'm not going to say it looks cheaply made, but it looks like the things that are coming in it aren't really that big.
It's not going to add up to $140 of value.
No. Well, they thought it was a coffee mug when we first saw those pictures of it. I thought there was a coffee mug, but it's actually like a little espresso cup. I don't drink espresso, I mean.
I didn't even catch that. So, while in theory, not in practice, give me a Lego Star Wars Advent Calendar, and or even what is it? Not Brio, but the knockoff version of Lego that has the Star Trek license. That I would be
Playmobil.
No. I think it is Brio. Playmobil is the kids one. So I don't know.
Playmobil just announced. I don't know if you saw this, but Playmobil just announced that they're gonna put out a USS Enterprise TOS playset that's going to be a $500 playset.
I did see that, and that is the dumbest thing that I can imagine. Big Big thumbs, because I've seen it on like $500. I think if I had $500, I would go out and buy a very nearly USS Flag from G.I. Joe from 1985.
There you go, man.
Because I have a local shop that is selling one for probably $600. So if I was really gonna, that's just dumb. That's one of those, throwing S at the wall and seeing what sticks. Oh, I edited myself. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Well, that brings us to the end of the road. It has been quite an animated journey. So Richie, why don't you take us out of here?
Absolutely. For more information about Starfleet International in Michigan and beyond, please visit the USS Grand Petoskey and USS Nomad on Facebook.
My goodness. Thank you. And thank you for joining us, friends. We are, of course, a part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. You are listening to Code 47, all about Star Trek. The Holocron Chronicles is bi-weekly, all about Star Wars. Co-op mode, also bi-weekly, is all about video games. And every Friday since 2014, your guide to the geek side, the Secret Friends Unite podcast, is your a la carte geek sampling. So we've got a great new website. All of our episodes can be found there, plus great original content, including some blog posts that I've written. SecretFriendsUnite.com. Go there, tell your friends, share it around. We're also over on Twitter. Anybody who thinks we're total morons talking about the animated series like we totally got it wrong, at Secret Friends U, let us know. We've also got a great merchandise store. Not as expensive as the the Advent calendar, but you can get yourself shirts, hoodies, stickers, magnets, and different coffee mugs, real coffee mugs, full-size coffee mugs, and a tumbler from our store over there. All of the benefits, all the proceeds of that benefit making of the show. So,
I feel like I got to do Aaron's part here. Do they have hoodies?
They have hoodies. Okay, very good. You got another one?
I'm not as good as she is. Aaron, you should have been here, man. We should have had you here.
You could have, should have been there. Oh my goodness. Well,
only
friends,
she would have watched the animated series.
I know we couldn't get her that far. Friends, once more, thank you for joining us. I'm going to tell you that sharing is caring, and to keep on trekking.
And the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one.